attention is coming onto it, as cows, livestock emit methane. Methane is one of the gases that are implicated in ozone layer depletion, like we did say, which uh, affect climate change and vice versa. So all these are really eye-opening for us to know, because for me, I say that we, the environmental and public health practitioners, when we know all this, when we are clear with them, it will enable us to formulate and recommend policy change and policy strengthening, so that we can effectively battle with air pollution, like you did clearly let us know, has far-reaching consequences in the environment and in our health. The environment, this air pollution, we are all aware, led to the climate change, which the consequences of climate change we are battling with. Climate change has affected a lot of things in the environment and has caused a lot of problems in our health. List is innumerable, starting from even psychological, how we think, because the air we breathe is getting hotter and hotter, and it has changed our entire ecosystem. Starting from what do I say? Starting from poor food supply and famine. Famine is the word I'm trying to get. Starting from famine, and we have lost a lot of arable land. Even this harder farmer clashes is one aspect of the climate change. I'm referring to this because this climate
Dr.
change.
Dr. Aboni,
Yes, sir.
please, you need to round up for other
Okay.
panelists. Yeah.
Okay. In rounding off, I do not intend to give another lecture outside of what Prof did. I think where I want to have more emphasis is on our roles. What do we need to do? We need to actually carry out our search, our physical demonstration and conviction of the government and ourselves about the existence of this air pollution. And how do we do it? We need to use data equipment. We need to use equipment, air monitoring equipment, to actually crystallize these pollutants. Where are they? Where do they exist? And that takes me to the data. We have to generate data. We have to realize we are not doing enough. We need to tell ourselves that even if we are doing something, we need to tell ourselves we are not doing enough. Let us actually go to the field using mobile equipment that can detect these gases where they exist, give data, because you cannot just convince government into a policy change without presenting enough data. Yes, I did. When we talk about this data we generate, we talk about how we can, like Prof was saying, fuel consumption in automobiles. So in Nigeria is the only place, even though we know the emission standards, have not been able to, down south here, have not been able to see. It lies within our responsibility to enforce this emission standard. When you go along the road, you see a lot of emissions, and nobody's, even the veteran also, though it's not their duty, it is ours. And I do not know why we are not doing that. So this may be a call to action. Having known that these emissions from automobiles and even from stationary machines, we are supposed to enforce these emission standards. I think it is a role that we have not been living up to dates that we should try to do. Enforcement, enforcement, enforcement. We have known this. This is a kind of eye opener. We have known that these air pollutants are bad, very detrimental to our environment and our health. It is our responsibility to enforce compliance. Please, I want to say that our council and us, we have to sit together as stakeholders and devise means of enforcing standards to air pollutants. I think let me stop here while others contribute their own. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Isaiah Aboni. Can we have another panelist, Dr. Edwin Sotu?
All right. The Registrant CEO of Environmental Health Council of Nigeria, perhaps represented or in absentia, our capable and distinguished National President of Environmental Health and Public Health Association of Nigeria, my brother, Dr. Samuel Ibeni, distinguished scholars, academics, and directors of schools of environment, public health, please permit me to stand on all other protocols that have been duly established. My name is Dr. Edwin Isotu Ede, the lead technical officer in charge of public health and environment, WHO Nigeria. I want to believe that we have had enough of the facts that air pollution is a killer, the silent killer, and that before the data shows up in the public space by WHO, by government and different partners, first and foremost, the data first show up in the lungs, impact show up in the lungs of people. And I believe as practitioners, we need to leave the theoretical issues and look at, in practice, where do we move from where we are after this today celebration to the next level? And how do we do it in a way that unlocks the climate change and environmental economy and empower our people, at the same time solve the problem? Because for us to solve the problem of air pollution, we must solve the problem looking at sustainability, which is the environment, which is social inclusion, and at the same time, economic. So all of this must be integrated in the solutions. And I feel that the problem is massive, but as practitioners, as professionals in this field, what can we do? How do we move from here to the next point in a way that solve the problem? I will just looking at the realities. I don't want to look at a lot of figures. Currently, you know that about 6 cities, about 3 major cities in Nigeria, 5 are currently monitoring air pollution. And out of those cities, not all the data are properly aggregated. I'm talking about Abuja, which is important. I'm talking about Lagos. I'm talking about Port Harcourt, which was being handled by Shell, and sometimes NIMET also come in. And the city of Kaduna is also doing air quality monitoring. I also know that some other cities like Akwa Ibom and Calabar from NIMET program, we also have data showing these figures. But beyond this data coming out, the council, as well as the association and the members, have some key things that we need to do moving forward. Now, first and foremost, we need to define in the whole air pollution and climate value chain, what are key roles we need to play that would help the country and help the economy. Because for many years, we have acted like a man who has so much talent, and then none of the talents is known for many things, but is not known for anything. So I think that it's high time we really define clearly in the whole of climate change, in the whole of air pollution, what exactly do we need to focus on? Okay, and we do it with so well, with perfection and excellence that every Nigerians can see and measure. And we have the tools, enabling tools. So first and foremost, I think that we need to, in the because of the issue we are discussing today, the topic, within now and the next, we need to roll out ambient or indoor air quality monitoring. Okay, so that the data we are talking about is not the data that is quoted by international organization, but data aggregated by the association and the council. And sometimes the data is not need to be so complex. It can example show, for example, how many households in Nigeria currently today, okay, are using clean cooking. Clean cooking. Let's look at what everybody does. Everybody cook food in the house. Okay. How many houses use clean cooking? That is something that an environmental health officer in Kaduna, an environmental health officer in Medugri can get that information within the purview of where he stays. Aspect of it is that we have been able to support the government, and we have an integrated national environmental surveillance center, which needs to be strengthened, which the administration needs to work with the council and the ministry to make sure that data are coming into these places and the data are being analyzed and used for environmental health planning. So the first entry point I will actually say is really around the data, which was what was spoken about. We need to make sure that we professionals are empowered to start collecting data, and we use the data to report. Okay, the second thing which I want to emphasize from the air pollution perspective is that the council has signed an MOU, I think, with the federal
Dr. Soto,
ministry.
please.
All right.
Please round up for the next panelist.
Thank you, sir.
You can round up. Vincent, please mute your microphone.
Yeah. How to use some basic tools for air quality monitoring. And we need to define on that, so that when we are adding the value should be able to bring some sort of revenue to the government and also empower the environmental health system. And lastly, just to cap it up, I think that as holistically, we need to come up with a clear-cut agenda, priority setting for environmental health system in the country. To say from now to 2030 or 20, let's say 2035, the crop areas we are focusing on. We want to make sure that we focus on population. Every officer knows that this is what we are all focusing on. We want to focus on climate. There should be clear-cut priority setting with clear outcomes and clear deliverables, and bring our officers retooled and skilled, improved to solve this problem, and we measure that problem and show it before the government of the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Isotu. We appreciate you. You have always delivered very intelligently, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much for your contribution. Can we have Dr. Tokwe Fowowe as one of our panelists to make our contributions? Dr. Fowowe, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Standing on the existing protocol and appreciating all our colleagues online that deem it fit to celebrate this World Environmental Health Day together. And I pray that this our coming together shall give us the chart forward to make a better environment. Thank you very much for this opportunity, my president. And I want to just bear my own mind to that beautiful lecture delivered by our prof, that we need to look at climate change as a threat multiplier. that wasn't existing health challenges and end up creating new ones. So my own mind here is that we need to look at tackling this climate change issue with what others have said by focusing more on health advocacy and community engagement. You know, our people, most of the time, things that are supposed not to affect us are the things that are killing us. And when you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the power. You will not know what to do. I think on this area, we need to involve the community more, to speak more to them about what do we mean by polluting our air. If everybody knows that polluting the air can always harm me, then why should I do it? But because we don't know, that's why you see many people, they gather their refuse, they put it somewhere, and they decide to burn it because they don't know its implication, because they are not aware. So my own mind here is that we need to involve the community. Let us engage them by educating them, telling them effects of these issues, telling them what they can do to ameliorate all these effects. We need to tell them. And because the issue of climate change is not about the people alone, it includes animals, it includes. Let our people know about this and let us, do something. Let us tell them something they might know. Like doctor, someone was saying something about clean air cooking. How many laymen understand what you mean by clean air cooking? Clean cooking. How many of us understand that? We can only interpret it because we know we are in that profession. But when we involve them, when we bring in community engagement, it brings the idea and the information lower to the grassroots. The people that are mostly affected by this issue of climate change and air pollution generally. So let us involve them in the planning. Let us involve them in the implementation. Let us involve them in this data driven. It is not even easy to collect data from these people, even when you want to collect data and get information. Some of them might decide to deny you of the right information because they don't know. But if we have involved them in the planning, in the implementation, execution, in what we need to do, you will see that we will be able to take in control of air pollution and get a clean air. How many people even know that clean air is their right? How many of them know that? Because if they know, you will not be seeing open burning everywhere. You will not be seeing open dumping of refuse everywhere. You will not be seeing people doing things to affect their own health because they don't know. We need to, as professionals, let us do more of community engagement. Let us do more of health advocacy so that people will know what to do and they will be able to do it right. There's another thing to know what to do. There's another thing to know how to do it right. People need to be informed. And when you are informed, you'll be able to do what is right. And I also want us to target the control on climate change and air pollution generally as a cross-sector collaboration. It is not the issue of one profession, one sector alone. It is not about the environment sector alone. It is not about the health sector alone. It includes economic sectors. It includes all other sectors. Let us all come together and look towards what we can do, to be able to achieve progress on the issue of air pollution control and climate change. Climate change should be handled holistically, involving everyone that matters. So by the time we involve everyone that matters, we will see that we have a lead way, be able to get headway in what we are doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, our darling sister, mother in the profession,
Thank you
doing
so
so
much.
gratefully well in the academia, having served meritoriously also on the field. We appreciate you, ma. Thank you. Can we have Dr. Bashir Balageso as a panelist for his contribution? Dr. Geso. Dr. Gesto,
Hello.
you have the floor, sir.
Hello. Wow. Okay. Thank you very much, my president, my distinguished colleague in the profession of public health and environmental health. A very good afternoon to you all. Let me just start with the protocol earlier established.
Good afternoon.
I've gone through all the panelists. They have discussed much, and considering the fact that much has been said on the paper presented by the prof, the paper was very, very much rich, and it entails a lot of things. But my point of contention and my point of discussion is going to be on one particular aspect. Considering the fact that we are always what do you call it, commemorating so many days. And we found out that in some of our areas, especially when you look at so many states, so many professionals are carrying out all these activities. But one thing that normally hit me in my mind is that we found out that most of the issues be raised during this kind of commemoration and this kind of paper presentation. We do it just like as a ceremony. And I feel I have to commend the council in trying to rebrand the environmental health practice as well as the public health practice across the country. But let me just try to inject some certain idea on them. Maybe they should be able to use it for us to have a lasting solution toward a lot of issues, toward a lot of environmental challenges we are facing in the country. Now, if you look at the indices raised across during this paper presentation, especially by the World Health Organization as well as the United Nations General Assembly, which was presented on last week, we found out that maybe more than 70 million people normally want to be killed every year. Every year. So look at this indices, very, very large. But if you look at the people that are managing this environment, the people that have the privilege to have a lot of what do you call it, interaction with our people in our community, we are talking about the professionals. I don't know, in our training environment institutions, we have to at least try to open eyes and see how we can be able to build more of the training, more of the exposing this kind of professional or students to the tax that maybe the use of this environmental gadget, especially if you look at the air control monitoring equipment, ourselves in qualities in terms of knowledge that we normally try to prevail to our people, that we showcase this kind of thing with data. We've been discussing a lot of issues, data, how do you generate data, how do you pack out data, how do you normally try to manage data. But our people seems to be lagging behind in terms of, we are blessed with so many professionals, with so many experts, with so many special people that have rich knowledge, that have vast knowledge in so many fields. So let us try to see how we can be able to build this capacity information to our people in our local communities. And secondly, we look at so many issues like advocacy to our leaders, advocacy to our community leaders, advocacy to our top management leaders in terms of political and policy development and formulations. So we have to also look at this as one of the criteria that we can go into the community, interact with the people, try to showcase the impact or the vulnerability or the effect are associated with some of the common practices that are in operation in our community areas. Then also develop policy and formulation of policy by our policy makers. We have to look at it in other way that our people need to be involved, because some of the policies being drafted, some of our people are not being contacted. I don't know whether you are getting me, because you see that sometimes you look at some of the policies, it can be built by so many other similar organizations or similar now. We look at our community, what is the common domain, what are the common. We also try to build on its own government, because we have to also acknowledge the role association of Nigeria. Try to rebrand, try to showcase, try to come up with so many innovations that can contribute in building a very healthy environment in this country. I don't want to bring a lot of bias, because we have seen so many experts previously that normally commend the effort made by the national president of this important association. He has been tried to cut across, irrespective of the whatever profession, whatever cadre you come from, try to build up a very stronger association that can contribute in cleaning and creating a very healthy environment. Working with the council, working with the academia, various fields, in the various fields related to environmental and public health is another welcome development. Raise council and commend their effort, try to at least create a very good sound environment whereby data generated from various states, from various organizations, from various fields can be sent directly to the council for proper management and proper utilization. Thank you very much for this, because we have a lot of two more papers to be presented in this particular perspective. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. Is the network? Hello?
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Dr. Bashir. We are very grateful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Well done.
It appears, okay, it's back. Mr. President, you are welcome back.
Thank you.
Mr. President, you are welcome back.
So, Professor Lalubi, please, can you bring the next lecturer? Hello, Prof. You seem to have issue with this connection.
Yeah.
May I have the pleasure, I request the pleasure of erudite scholars and guest speakers, members of EFAN that are on this honors program. To introduce to us our next lecturer in the person of Dr. Baba Yakubu Mohammed, the Registrar CEO, Environmental Health Council of Nigeria, who we all know has been doing greatly well within and outside the country representing environmental health and public health. He is currently in the United States of America, in New York, attending the United Nations General Assembly. He has just given us little time to deliver and be part of this program. Join us in welcoming Sanitarian Dr. Yakubu Mohammed Baba for the next lecture. Thank you. Dr. Baba, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, my president. Permit me to formally recognize led by Professor Awaluba and other distinguished resource persons who have significantly contributed in making today's event a memorable one. Permit me also to mention that I'm not going to deliver a lecture because I'm coming from the point of a regulator. Regulator is not an academician. So therefore, my tailored towards what is the council doing and what is the ministry doing as far as the issue of environmental health and public health is concerned, vis-a-vis the perspectives of the theme of today's discussion. Let me start by sincerely commending the convener of this meeting, the president of the association, and also congratulate you for bringing these resource persons to share their own perspectives for the good of environmental health and public health in Nigeria. I will start by saying that my discussion will be to think globally and act locally. I will start by saying that much has been said by the previous speakers about the effects, the consequences of air pollution in Nigeria. Like you know, the issue of air pollution is not a Nigerian issue, but it's a global issue. That's why when you look at the discussion in the different global engagement tailored towards how we can reduce our green gas emission. For us to really achieve that, I think the council has achieved a lot of milestones. The first one that I want to share is the council, in its wisdom, in trying to meet up with the global obligation as far as the Paris Agreement is concerned, review the act that established the council. That review of the act that established the council give the council and place the council in the right positions to be able to regulate the practitioners in the field of environmental health and public health. Because of time, I'm going to also rush to the next point where, as a government entities, our role is to provide policy and regulation. And I think looking in depth based on the experience that we have gathered through national and international engagement, we saw the need that we need to review the National Environmental Health Practice Regulation 2016. Because of the emerging issues that are arising globally, to God be the glory, we succeeded in reviewing the National Environmental Health Practice Regulation. And the beauty of that review of the National Environmental Health Regulation 2024 is to provide the ingredients that is required for the practitioners to be able to address the emerging issues, which is one of them. So when you look at that piece of legislation, you will see that it has provided about 16 practice areas that are very good and placing also environmental health in a good footing if we are ready to tap from what was incorporated and legislated in that National Environmental Health Practice Regulation. So let me come back to the discourse of today, the issue of air pollution, the cause for action. And I want to ask, without looking at the rhetorics, what impact have we as practitioners done in the area of air pollution in Nigeria? Without answering this question, we will continue to discuss in theory without achieving anything on ground. Let me also emphasize that we as there is how we can harness these regulations and the policies that we have in place to provide services. The future of environmental health is not going to be in the public sector. The future of environmental health is going to be in the private sector. And I believe with the coming of the regulation, so many things are going to mention that we cannot implement the National Environmental Health Practice Regulation without building capacity. Because really what we lack and what is the gap where we are today and where we want to be tomorrow is lack of capacity. Yes, so many people are mentioning that we need data. How can we get the data? Are we going to use our hand, or are you going to use our rudiments of or you require equipment and that can be able to only doing the measurement into a meaningful conversation around the globe. So what do we mean? Deeply and see how you can develop your capacity. So as a council, what are we doing to make sure that we have changed the narration and make our practitioners to be the leaders? Because we have to provide the leadership. We have to lead. For example, I can tell you that the council under my leadership